Good afternoon. Today I will be briefing on our 18th strategy of war, indirect warfare. The more indirect your strategies are in life, the better. So, the story that comes to mind when I was reading this chapter was how my friendship with Miles Harper originally came about. I'm sharing this with you all because when I did use these strategies, not realizing it in the moment, it really did pay off and it blossomed into something really great. So, a little background, when we first became friends was because I was put in his carpool with another cadet, and he reached out to me asking me all these questions, and I was feeling overwhelmed, so I didn't respond. And then once we met is when he picked me up for my first day to ROTC, and I remember that car ride. It was dead silent, but I was asking all these questions about PT and like if it ever gets easier, and all these questions about the program. And other days we would have dead silent car rides, but usually when I was in the car, it was like constant chitter chatter. And when I had time, just me and him, when we were walking either to PT or from lead lab, I would ask him, I was like, do you guys normally talk? Because I saw him not talking to the other cadet very often. He's like, no, usually our car rides are dead silent. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And he was very standoffish with me. He did not want to be my friend. He never really connected with a lot of people in ROTC, and he just didn't want to befriend a freshman, understandably. And he was my squadron commander, so he wanted to maintain professional relationships. I was very determined. I knew that he had a lot of experience and knowledge that I needed, and I knew I was struggling as a freshman, and I just wanted to stay in the program and do the best I could. So I knew that he would be a vital friend to make. And I knew we had a lot in common. He didn't know it just yet. So I would text him good morning every morning. I would constantly ask him if he wanted to go get food after PT or after lead lab. He would mostly say no, but he started being open to getting food after PT, so we'd always go to McDonald's together with the cadet in the car, and he would pay and not get paid back. And I noticed that, and so I would ask him questions about it, and he would just get really mad. So I found a mutual purpose. We both did not like this person, and it caused him to open up more. And um, finding those ways and using those strategies of like mutual disliking of a person, the fact that we both go to the same school and our course load was a lot, the fact that we both are making this drive together and spending these long days. So being confined in a car together, whether he wanted to or not, was helpful for me because it allowed me to like make it seem like he would not escape me. Like either way, you're gonna see me minimum twice a week, if not more, at school. And sometimes we would run into each other in school, and I would always be like, "Oh my gosh, hi," and just start talking to him. So I came from him in all different avenues, and I was direct with my approach, I guess. But he was so thrown off by like the fact that I would be texting him good morning, and then I would go like ask him to go get food, or I would see him at school, and he was realizing that it was more, I would be more than just like a ROTC friend. Like I could also be just his genuine friend. And I think that began to open his mind up more to the possibilities. And it ended up paying off because the second semester of my freshman year, he stood up for me when I was going through a really tough time with a certain cadet that was not treating me very well. And he stood up for me, and she left me alone, and that was the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, like thank you. And I don't know if that would have happened if I didn't make such an effort to be his friend with all these different strategies that I used. So it ultimately did also end up being our downfall because at the end of our friendship, I was not very indirect with my approaches about how I felt about certain decisions he was making in his life. I was extremely direct, and I think I should have taken a more indirect approach, like the strategy book says. And like I started in the beginning of our friendship because it ended up pushing him away, and not being subtle in that manner drove our friendship into the ground. So